What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, you all know my opinions on Matt Patricia. I don't think he's necessarily a good coach. I don't think he's a good coordinator. I don't think his defensive scheme works, and I don't think that he is the right coach for the Detroit Lions. However, I am not the only one to think this, as you know, there are multiple fans and multiple media sources around the NFL that are very negative towards Matt Patricia at this point in his tenure with the Lions. However, there is one media member, one former NFL player, former MVP, former Super Bowl champion, and member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame that has repeatedly called out Matt Patricia, called for his job, and is repeatedly taking shots at Matt Patricia. And today I wanted to go over this person's comments, go over what they're saying, talk about it a little bit, talk about whether it's true or not, and just kind of, bring this to light a little bit to show that I am not the only one, and some very smart football people are agreeing with me in the fact that Matt Patricia just isn't the right guy in Detroit. Before we do get into this video, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying this Detroit Lions content, consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It only takes 2 seconds out of your day to do so, and it would help the channel out a lot. I would be greatly appreciative for it. But with all that being said, let's get into talking about Terry Bradshaw's comments about Matt Patricia and, talk about how much slander he is really throwing at Patricia. Now, as I said, Terry Bradshaw, in pretty much since the season began, or pretty much since the Detroit Lions lost that game to the Chicago Bears, Terry Bradshaw, former Super Bowl champion, member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, has been calling for Matt Patricia's job, has been telling people he can't coach, he can't do this, he can't do that, they're wasting talent. Terry Bradshaw's gone in pretty hard on Matt Patricia. If you think I'm being hard on Patricia, go listen to Terry Bradshaw's comments, and we'll hear some of them in this video. But, Terry Bradshaw is not playing around. He is not joking with Matt Patricia, and, it's very evident that Terry Bradshaw just does not believe in the Matt Patricia system. Now, the first comment that I want to mention came last weekend during the bye when the Detroit Lions were not even playing. And I don't know the exact conversation that they were having. I don't know the exact segment that they were doing because I was not watching that particular channel that day. However, during the bye week when, again, the Lions weren't even playing last weekend, Terry Bradshaw brought up Matt Patricia for, just because he kind of almost went out of his way to bring up the fact that Matt Patricia is a bad coach. And the quote goes something like this.
One of the hard things to do in this job is we love a lot of people. Unfortunately, we have to be brutally honest, too. That's why today, Jimmy brings out the fork, and I'm bringing out the spoon, fellas. Because you know why, Mike? Why? I'm going to stir things up. I'm going to mix things up a little bit.
I like
Bring
that.
a little something different to it. You can love them, but they have got to show that they can coach. Patricia in Detroit can't coach. Smartest guy in the world. Rocket scientist. Engineer. Can't coach a lick. Can't hold a lead when they're leading by 10 points. He's got to be gone. Gates in the New York Jets, terrible head coach. He's got to get out of there.
I don't think Terry Bradshaw is necessarily incorrect on this. Actually, I agree quite a lot with what he's saying here. Matt Patricia, in my opinion, is not a good coach. He can't win victories. He can't hold these very well. There was a stat that came out the other day that the Lions have blown 6 consecutive 10-plus point leads, which is the most in NFL history. They've given up so many fourth-quarter leads. They've given up so many fourth-quarter comebacks against teams that they really shouldn't have given them up against since Matt Patricia has been here. And, it's kind of ridiculous at this point. There's so many times the Lions should win games. There are so many times that they get off to such a hot start and it looks like the Lions should dominate this game. And for one reason or another, the play calling gets soft, the players ease up, the coaching, eases up. They, get a little bit less cutthroat. They just, for one reason or another, it always seems like the Lions are getting come back on. It always seems like, no matter how big of a lead the Lions have, it's never safe because in a Patricia defense, the defense is going to give a lot of points. And that is just unacceptable. As a defensive guru, as a guy that was brought in here to Detroit to take this team over the top on the defensive side of the ball, a dude that was brought here to fix this defense and make it an elite championship contender, he has not done his job. And everything that Terry Bradshaw said, it was absolutely correct in the statement. Matt Patricia is a very smart guy. He's a rocket scientist. He's an engineer. He's probably one of the smartest people in the NFL right now when it comes to IQ and math and stuff like that. But that doesn't necessarily lead to to success on a football team. Just because you're a smart person doesn't mean you can build a football team, doesn't mean you can coach a football team, and I think that is the exact situation that we are seeing right now with Matt Patricia and the Detroit Lions. And, I just want to bring this up again because I think this is hilarious, but this was a couple days ago, and Terry Bradshaw went out of his way to say this. They were not talking about the Lions because the Lions weren't playing. They were not talking about Detroit. They were not talking about the matchup with Detroit because Detroit didn't have a matchup that week. Detroit did not play in week 5. They did not have, they had a week 5 bye, so it's not even like they were talking about the Lions. And for one reason or another, Terry Bradshaw felt the need to go out of his way to once again call for Matt Patricia's job. And, I think that speaks volumes when a former Super Bowl champion, a dude that's won the Super Bowl, a dude that has gone where the Lions need to be, a dude that has won the Super Bowl, something the Lions have never done as a franchise. I think if a guy like that is calling out your head coach and calling out your organization, you definitely need to listen because he knows what it takes. He knows what it takes to get to the Super Bowl. He knows what it needs to be like in that organization. He knows what the coaches need to do to win a Super Bowl. And if he is calling out the coach repeatedly, it's not one time where he's like, yeah, they're struggling, they're not having a good season. It's repeatedly over and over, and every single week before kickoffs, Terry Bradshaw is calling out Matt Patricia and calling out just the Lions organization in general and saying that nothing is going to change and that the Lions will not win anything until Patricia is gone. And, that speaks volumes to me because, again, a former Super Bowl champion is saying that, a guy that knows what it takes to win the big game, something the Lions have never done as an organization. So that's something I think the Lions need to take to heart. That's something Sheila needs to listen to and say, you know what? You're right. It's time to move on from Matt Patricia. Obviously, we heard that comment, but that is not the only comment from Terry Bradshaw, as right before week 3 when the Detroit Lions did defeat the Arizona Cardinals. So this was before the Lions were 0-2 at this time, and Terry Bradshaw called for Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn to be fired because of the struggling during their tenure. And, once again, that's exactly how it is, right? The Detroit Lions went from a 9-7 team, a playoff contender under Jim Caldwell and Bob Quinn. Bob Quinn got there for 2 years, let Jim Caldwell kind of do his thing for a couple years, and then Bob Quinn decided that 9-7 wasn't good enough, and moved on from Jim Caldwell. He brought in Matt Patricia, and under Matt Patricia, the Lions have been arguably the worst team in the NFL. They've definitely been the worst team in the NFC North. They've been one of the worst teams in the NFC in general. They have not had higher than a 10th overall pick since Matt Patricia has gotten to Detroit, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to get any better from here. It doesn't look like that stat is going to change. They will probably have a bottom 5, bottom 8 pick once again in the NFL draft, and it's just, we've had a lot of struggles under the Quinn-Tricia era. We've had a lot of struggles, a lot of losing in this era, and I think Terry Bradshaw once again is right. I do think it is time to move on from both of these guys, and I think that it is time to just start a new era, new GM, new owner, new coach, new coordinators outside Brandon Coombs, of course. And, I just think it's time to restart, hit the nuke button, sell off some players, sell off some coaches, fire people that aren't doing their jobs right, and just start over from scratch because the Lions can't go down from here, right? I mean, there's not much worse the Lions can get than what they are right now. So at this point, I think it's time to just reset, get a new coach, get a new GM, with a new owner in Sheila Ford. She can definitely afford to make those moves and put her stamp on the team. And, I just think I agree with Terry Bradshaw once again. I think it's just time to move on. I think it's time to fire both Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. Now, the other day, as many NFL fans know, Dan Quinn, the head coach or former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, was fired a few days ago. And, doing, and as they do on NFL Network or whatever, broadcasting channel they were on, they were doing a segment about Dan Quinn, talking about whether it was the right move to fire him and stuff like that. And they were talking strictly about the Atlanta Falcons here. They had nothing to do with the Lions. They had nothing to do with the Jets. They had nothing to do with either of those teams. It was strictly a segment about the Falcons. And once again, Terry Bradshaw goes out of his way to call out Matt Patricia and Adam Gase, but we're going to focus on Matt Patricia. He goes out of his way to call out Matt Patricia and, quote, calls him a terrible coach. He tells him that Matt Patricia can't do his job. He's not qualified. Again, he goes out of his way. It's not like they're doing a segment and they're like, oh, what are your opinions on Matt Patricia? They're doing a segment on Bob Quinn and the Atlanta Falcons, and Terry Bradshaw finds a way to go out of his way and call for Matt Patricia's job yet again. Call him unqualified, call him a terrible coach, saying that he can't coach a lick. It's really, really bad at this point. again, if you're a former Super Bowl champion and you're not even talking about the Detroit Lions, and then you go out of your way on live television to call for a head coach's job, like that speaks volumes to me. And I think that, that is a serious sign that even people that have nothing to do with this organization know that Matt Patricia isn't the answer. And, especially former players, especially guys that have been to the Super Bowl and know what it takes to win that Super Bowl. I think that speaks volumes. And I just think that, if former players that haven't even played for your organization are going out of their way on live television to call for your head coach's job because they feel bad for you that you are not winning, that's really, really sad. And that's a sign that everything needs to be blown up, everything needs to be restarted, and we definitely need a different coach we definitely need a new head coach at the helm. Terry Bradshaw has also gone on to quote a couple different times that
coaches have today, I believe, be more of a player-friendly coach. I know that sounds crazy. Jimmy's not like that. But they have to be a guy that commands respect, but the players love to play for him.
He do want to pat somebody on the back.
Jimmy's a whole different generation. So, yeah, true. But this generation here, I played for Tom Coughlin, who was a disciplinary XO coach, didn't win anything. Once he became a relationship coach, where he let you know he cared about you outside of the game of football, we win a Super Bowl. This is the Instagram and TikTok generation. You have to relate to your players.
And Matt Patricia is not a very coach-friendly player. He's not really a player-friendly coach. He doesn't really seem like the kind of guy that jokes around. He seems very down to business. He seems very business-oriented. And yeah, he's done a couple things with his players, like protest and march with them. But I've never seen a video of him joking with his players. I don't really see him laughing and having fun with his players. It doesn't seem like Matt Patricia and his players are as close as some people were led to believe, including myself. Like, it just doesn't seem like they're close. It doesn't seem like Matt Patricia is really a player's coach. And, nowadays in the NFL, we've seen a lot of players' coaches win really big games. Pete Carroll and Andy Reid are perfect examples. I would say Sean McVay is a player's coach. They have a really good offense. Jim Harbaugh seems like a really nice coach, seems like a really good player's coach, and the Ravens are obviously amazing. Like, there are a lot of really, really good teams with players' coaches, and the only coach in the NFL right now that I would say is truly a down-to-business coach that works is Bill Belichick. Matt Patricia is trying to do it. It doesn't work. Bill O'Brien tried to do that. It didn't work in Houston. And, there's a reason that these Patriot disciples don't work is because they try to be Bill Belichick. They don't want to be players coaches. They want to be coaches, and they just want to get down to business and work. And that just doesn't resonate with players. And, Terry Bradshaw knows that. The players know that. And Matt Patricia just isn't going to change anytime soon. So, yet again, just another example of why Matt Patricia is not fit to hold the title of head coach for this Lions team. And then my favorite quote comes after the Week 1 loss to the Chicago Bears, where the Detroit Lions held a 17-point lead late in the fourth quarter and somehow found a way to lose that football game. Now, after that game, obviously there was some news. Obviously they were talking about the Detroit Lions, and Terry Bradshaw happened to be there. Now, this quote is my favorite because I just think that this makes it seem so simple for everybody else to see other than Matt Patricia and the Lions organization. Now, you might look at all these quotes, right? You might watch this video and think that I'm hating on Matt Patricia. I hate Matt Patricia as a person. You might look at these quotes and say, oh, Terry Bradshaw just hates Matt Patricia. He hates the Lions, blah, 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 blah. But that's not true. Terry Bradshaw does not hate the Lions. Terry Bradshaw does not actively want the Lions to lose, and that's why he's saying these things, right? Terry Bradshaw's not hating on the Lions as an organization. He's, and if anything, he's rooting for the Lions to be good. He wants the city of Detroit to have a winning football team. He wants this team to be a good football team, or else he wouldn't be saying that. Obviously, he believes in what he's saying, and obviously he wants this team to be good, because if he wanted the Detroit Lions to be bad, he wouldn't be saying anything. If he wanted the Detroit Lions to continue to be a bottom of the barrel, if he wanted the Detroit Lions to continue to be a cellar, down in the cellar of the NFC every single year, he would be calling for Matt Patricia to keep his job, or he wouldn't be saying anything at all. Like, I don't know why Terry Bradshaw cares so much about this team, because he's never played here. He's not really been involved with the Lions organization before. So I couldn't tell you why Terry Bradshaw feels so strongly about firing Matt Patricia and helping this Detroit Lions organization, but he does. And it's not because he hates the Lions. It's not because he hates Matt Patricia as a person. It's not because he hates this team, or he hates the city, or he hates the fans. He wants this team to succeed. Why? I couldn't quite tell you. Maybe he just wants to see good football again in Detroit. But like, Terry Bradshaw is a very smart guy. He's a former quarterback, member of the Hall of Fame. He knows what it takes to win Super Bowls. He knows what it takes to, be a good franchise. And, if you're not going to take it from me or other YouTubers, if you don't want to accept the fact on our videos that, we're bringing up all these facts that Matt Patricia is out of excuses, Matt Patricia should be done in Detroit, if you don't want to hear it from us, if you don't think we are a reliable source, listen to the former Super Bowl champion. Listen to the Hall of Fame quarterback. Listen to the dude that has won MVPs and 4 Super Bowls and been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Trust that guy, because that guy knows what he's talking about. That guy and Terry Bradshaw knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl. That guy knows what it takes for a quarterback to win MVP. He knows what it takes for an organization to be successful. He knows what it takes to get your franchise to the step that every franchise wants to get to. He knows what it takes to bring that trophy home to a city that hasn't had it in quite a while. And he knows the feeling of winning a Super Bowl, and he knows exactly what it takes to get to that point. So if you're not going to take it from me, if you are not going to believe me when I say that Matt Patricia needs to be fired, believe Terry Bradshaw, because Terry Bradshaw does this for a living. He knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl. He's surrounded himself with football for a majority of his life. He knows exactly what he's talking about. He is a very smart person. He's a very smart football IQ. If this guy and Terry Bradshaw is calling out him, Matt Patricia, and it's not like he's calling out every coach. He is strictly calling out Matt Patricia and Adam Gase. And if he is calling out your coach as an owner, you really need to take a step back and look at that and, really just take that to heart, because if former players that never even were involved with your organization come out and say that this head coach needs to be fired, that is a huge sign that something is not right in your organization, and that is a huge sign that change needs to happen. Now, with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. The Detroit Lions are playing once again next weekend, so tomorrow I will start focusing more on that Jags matchup, going over, statistics and comparing the teams and stuff like that. But I did want to get this out of the way. I did a Matt Patricia video yesterday. I'm doing one today. This will be the last one for a while, but I thought these comments from Terry Bradshaw were hilarious. I thought that, they just needed to be brought to light, because some people still think that Matt Patricia is the answer here in Detroit, and, he isn't. People like to argue with me, but I don't know who's going to argue with Terry Bradshaw, because, he's a very smart guy. He's a former NFL player. He knows what it takes. So, just another really credible source that thinks Matt Patricia is not the answer. I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to get this video out, but as I said, the next couple of days, I will start shifting focus to that Jags matchup. I will start focusing on that matchup as we do take on the 1-3 Jacksonville Jaguars next weekend. So if you are excited for that, make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so that you are here when I do upload those videos and do start previewing those matchups. But with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. If there is Lions news before tomorrow, then I will obviously make another video letting everybody know. But until then, that is all I got for you guys right now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all tomorrow with more Lions content. Bye, guys.